What is up, Generals? We're back with Ultimate General Civil War. And this is the Major General Rebalance Let's Play. So let's go ahead and jump in to the campaign screen. Something I noticed when I was doing editing and post is that I want to change the MG and J back to the Grenadier unit. And the reason I want to do that, take a look at the melee stat, 85. Now take a look at the weapon I've put in the hands of the Grenadiers. Melee, 65. That seems inefficient, right? So the Springfield is fine, melee 60. The second line is not intended to be in melee terribly often. We're just going to have to eat that, I think. But wait, stop. First, give you back your 1841. The 1841 is not that much worse in terms of a shooting weapon than the MJ&G is, but the MJ&G is markedly worse as a, or the MJ&G is markedly better as a melee weapon. So let's go ahead and bump you up to, I guess we'll do 13, give you some nice round numbers and effective shooting and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, by and large, I'm actually pretty happy with how the units have all shaped up. We have some nice big healthy brigades, which hopefully will get us through the crucible that is Newport News. This is a tough fight. This is a tough battle. There's no two ways around it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pop off here. Like I said, these fights take forever in a day. Oh, I figured out what I want to call you. No, let's just call horse artillery. Fine, whatever. We'll figure it out. I'll come up with a cool name for these things. I like, it's a very Napoleonic nameology, isn't it? Line rifles. All right, whatever. Anywho, yeah, we'll figure it out. Like I said, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pop off. And as a side note, I think between now and I worry about officers. So depending on how much money I've got, I'm probably going to pick up everything through Major. Probably not Vernon Truex. I think $2,000 is going to be my cutoff. And we're just going to suck it up. We're just going to suck it up in terms of the efficiency penalty and try and grow internally our officer corps. Because take a look at how stupid expensive a good general is, which makes sense. That's actually something that, as much as I'm bitching about it, and I recognize that I am bitching about it, I think it's actually a really cool change the Rebal mod does, that we're going to really need to worry about growing our officer corps. And there's a strong incentive to do it internally. So, yeah. Let's jump into it, though, shall we? So I'll see you guys in a few seconds. So, yeah, let's just jump in. 8,000 to 15,000 sounds exciting. They outgun me 2-1, which is also excellent. One of the kind of the nifty fun things about the Rebalance mod is that it extends the timers for all these missions quite a bit, and a lot of them that are missions that end whenever the timer runs out are now missions that just go until you're done. So, plot twist, I've played up through Shiloh. I've not actually played Shiloh itself yet. I'm actually going to record that later tonight, but I figured I should catch up with some of the audio on some of these videos. And yeah, it's I'm starting to get kind of a hang for the things that do and don't work in the Rebalance mod. So right off the bat, I'm excited because I get well, let's take a look at the stats on this gun. Range 400, fire rate 25, Colt M1855 revolving carbine. Now, I'm blown away that the fire rate is so freaking slow. 25 reload rate is terrible. blown away that the reload rate is so slow on a gun that's a revolver. You'd think like, and maybe this is how the game balances it, where it's like blam 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 blam. You fire off the 5 rounds in your cylinder, or maybe you've got a 6-round cylinder. Who knows? And then you have to take a second to kind of physically place 5 or 6 rounds back in the cylinder before you can fire again. And so perhaps the game says, let's just go ahead and average that out and break it down to, a fire rate 25. But fire rate 25 is so slow. Oh my goodness. Anyway, these guys go over here because there's a recon eye I can sit them on at this farmhouse. And perhaps it's not there now, but it's gonna be when the map opens up. And the thought process for moving Stuart 1 and 2 over to the extreme Confederate left at the moment is that this position gets rapidly outflanked by Union infantry moving on the Confederate left, which is interesting because in the vanilla game they never do that. In the vanilla game they more or less just go straight for the front edge of this town, and they basically attack in this perfect funnel that you can just shoot, right? And then here, that's not what they do. And additionally, the numbers are a bit strong in the Union's favor on this map as well. I think we end up actually fighting 18,000 thanks to the variability mechanic. So it's a struggle. But obviously right now they're just sort of probing my defenses with skirmishers, trying to figure out what I can and can't put off. So, yeah. Again, all of the in-game footage is filmed at 2x speed. One really nice thing is we route this skirmisher unit and they hit the river, and I guess the AI just like can't figure out what the hell to do when it's routing and hits a river, because this affects me and the AI. And you'll see later in this battle, there's some stuff that kind of really annoys me that goes down, and it's frustrating. Just it's probably my fault, almost certainly, but it's just frustrating. So we catch these infantry, the skirmishers here in the water, and this is an opportunity for me to get third rifle some experience, because remember, they're a brand new unit, even if they do have a star. We blast the crap out of that unit and knock it out, because they're perked for accuracy, and I've also given them a fairly accurate early game rifle. I believe they have the 1841 or possibly the MJ. We wheel second line to meet this large cavalry swarm and these huge brigades. I think that's one of the things I'm struck by with the Rebalance mod, is how large the units have to get to be functional early in the campaign. I'm used to a 1,300 man Confederate brigade being kind of a Fredericksburg kind of thing, like an evolution of the force up until the point that it gets big enough for that. And I'm just shocked that I feel as if I do actually need these units to be about this size to stick it out for these kind of fights. It's crazy. Anywho, yeah. The large cav unit, I remember there being a cav unit in the vanilla version of this battle, but I don't remember it being this large, and that might be a function of the fact that we've probably screwed the pooch on scaling at this point, but who knows. So in terms of concept of operation, first and second infantry are going to stand at the front because they're the melee units, although thinking about it now, it was a mistake, I think, to put them there, because they're not... The other half of their perk is speed, right? And so right now they're in a very static defensive position, just standing there. So perhaps it would have been better to stick the accuracy unit in the place where second line currently is and have them shoot versus, the other units. Might have reduced the incidence of some of the units that get successful charges off in the middle here, but we'll see. I'm using 3 rifles and the 2U versions of Stewart's Cav to work as kind of spoilers on the Confederate extreme left. essentially they are free at this point to outflank my position, except for the fact that I've got troops who will swoop around and capture them, or not capture them, but hit them in the rear with fairly accurate rifles fires. I will say that the skirmishers or dismounted cavalry do seem to perform very well in a shooting role, even without perks. So thank goodness for that, because if you watch the CSA tutorial mission, you'll remember I complained quite a bit about the extreme ineffectiveness of baseline units in the sort of fundamental infantry roles, shooting a gun and marching. Those are, I think, core roles that basic foot troops should be able to perform. And the thing is they do perform those roles better and better and better as the experience gets the unit gets experienced, and or the unit gets perks. So it's appropriate. It's fitting. It takes a minute to get off the ground like that. So we shoot the crap out of this cav unit, and again, I'm just shamelessly abusing the fact that the AI can't figure out how routing and creeks work at the same time. And then the 6-pounders are reaping an unholy toll as just the premier close range shooting unit. Thank goodness we get reinforcements. This ends up being a hugely lucky break, as I get Ewell and Bartow both double up. So we gain 2 extra brigades on top of the 4 we're supposed to get. So we go from 4 to 6 reinforcing brigades, as well as I think we end up getting an extra artillery unit as well. So incredibly lucky break in terms of the variability coming in here, because that allows me to maintain a much more effective front line, or provide more coverage for my units. However, this is a gigantic cluster that goes on right here, because I've got one of the cav units shooting at the artillery, one of the cav units trying to support infantry charges, and then there's this weird kind of like back and forth with I can't read the name of the unit, the Union unit there. It's Robinson, perhaps. But yeah, like there's just a lot of unit there, and I see the opportunity to maybe, hey, melee combat's good, we should go ahead and charge. Plot twist: melee combat when you're staring down the barrel of an artillery unit is not good. This goes very poorly for me. So I do want to make one caveat here. This play series is not really about optimal play. This is not about like a strategy guide or the extreme like really good let's play or anything. Like, this is definitely me discovering this mod and kind of trying to figure it out. So there's some things here and there that are going to be optimal because I've played Major General up through Gaines Mill a couple times on the Confederate playthrough. And so I've got a loose idea of what right looks like. But I mean, the Rebalance mod changes at a fundamental level a lot of the core assumptions about how the game plays, how the game works. So yeah, this is the clusterfuck I was talking about earlier. I've got 4 units now engaged in melee with 1. So you think like, oh, we should be killing it. Except for the fact that they're routed through a river. So the AI doesn't know what's going on. And I'm point blank next to this artillery unit. And I can't shake anything loose to shoot at the artillery unit because everything else is already engaged and everything else. So the units that are in melee are stuck in melee because they're in melee with a unit that's routing through the river. Except now they're also routing for the most part because they're also in a river and they're being shelled at such range that their melee or their morale is, I mean, falling to pieces. You can see kind of how this is going to be just terrible, right? Like, you can kind of see what's coming here. So my unit's getting fucking shattered. The cav unit does shatter. The 2 other infantry units get mauled. Like it's an atrocious situation, and I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking break the unit. I was thinking, shell this infantry unit into oblivion and shatter it. What I should have been doing, obviously, is doing counter battery fire with three units of 6-pounders. That would have gotten this guy out my back that much faster. So I definitely didn't make the right call here. I made a call, but yeah. So I'm feverishly trying to select third rifles to get them out of there. I'm like, okay, we've got 3 units of 6-pounders all pouring canister into these guys. Like, that should be enough, Why hasn't he shattered yet? Why hasn't he surrendered it yet? I just see the second version of Stewart just shatter. Yeah. I don't know. There's not really a lot of ways I can justify what all goes down trying to extricate myself from this particular situation. Let's just say it doesn't go well. And we'll kind of adapt from there. But you do see in this battle the outsized input that 6-pound artillery can have, and you'll see it as well in Bull Run. 6-pounder, traditional 6-pounder artillery really performs very well. And there's something else that I noticed in the course of Bull Run that I hadn't caught up until now, is that the range of almost all of the artillery has been significantly cut short. I think that the vanilla 3-inch ordnance gun, for example, has maybe a 1400 range or something along those lines. And I keep on being like, what do you even do? Why do you exist? What's the point of you as a gun? Because all the artillery has a range that is no larger than 1,000. So even the 20-pound parrots or the 10-pound parrots don't shoot much farther than a 6-pounder. And so I keep on wondering, what's the point of some of these guns? If they can't function, what's the point? If you can't do counter battery work, why are you here? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out kind of what the weapon design breakdown is for the Rebalance mod. I'm not entirely sure, because you think Whitworth's, the whole reason you take a Whitworth cannon is that it's got range. That's it. I think they're hot garbage, except for the fact that they've got range. And I know that I'm not in the majority with regard to that opinion. But, okay. Why else do you have them? But the thing is, in this mod, they don't shoot much farther than anything else. Now, I think they shoot, 1,000, 1,100, something like that. So the range, I don't know. The range of a 6-pounder is not terribly far off from the range of any other gun in this game. So, one of the complaints I'd seen on a Reddit thread about this was a player was kind of like, why am I bothering buying high-end, expensive late-game weapons when I've got, these mid-game weapons that seem like they'll perform just fine. And I'm sure there are reasons for that. But in terms of range or fire rate or some of the more obvious performance characteristics, there's nothing that really bears that out. The high-end infantry muskets still shoot 400. They still have a fire rate between 75 and 125. It's the accuracy and the damage curves that start to really change things up. And none of the artillery weapons are, to my perception, super duper accurate. Although maybe that'll shake out. I don't know. Especially when you throw accuracy perks and long range perks and whatnot into the equation. Some of those things might change. And I'm not really sure kind of how that works or what that looks like in a late game perspective as well. So take all of my commentary here with the, I think, appropriate grain of salt that is, hey, I just started playing this. You know, I've got a grand total of maybe 10 hours, if that, playtime in the Rebalance mod versus the vanilla game. So let's take a look at the game as it's going. First horse artillery is just being amazing. You're gonna see, and I've built the army for Shiloh. You're gonna see a very strong Confederate artillery corps, because I see like, oh, they perform. So you know, clearly I should be bringing a lot of them. Well, we'll get to Shiloh when we get to Shiloh. I've got a bunch of battles to work through before then. I've been excited to play, so I've just been recording and playing, and then I'll handle the audio commentary later. Because you know, in my vanilla series with the Union Major General game, I had enjoyed trying to do live commentary for side battles and then post commentary for big battles, and for grand battles, and that was fine. Except there's the fact that this battle took, I don't know, an hour and a half to actually record in terms of raw playtime and everything. And then, Jesus, I don't even want to think about how long First Bull Run was. So it necessitates, I think, that I look at or approach the methodology for filming a bit differently. So I know these two units are exhausted, but my thought process is artillery is killer. You've got to destroy it ASAP. So exhausted or not, while that unit is routing, I just need to press my advantage and go for it. Yeah, so let's just kind of watch the rest of the battle play out. Performance notes, 3rd Rifles really impresses me. They're the new unit, as well, along with the reconstituted 1st Artillery, which is the same unit as the old 1st Artillery. It's just I didn't have 11 6-pounders. I had 9, so I deleted the unit and then reformed it with the same officer, and it got the perk back. And yes, I did lose the experience and the firearms training and everything else. Okay, that sucks. It is what it is. But I got the chance to put 6-pounders in there, and they're doing phenomenal work. They're doing really great, excellent work. I've played a couple battles now, and you'll see the rest of the campaign play out. I've played, like I said, up through the lead up to Shiloh, so I've completed up to Stay Alert, and I remain unconvinced at this juncture that the accuracy perk isn't just leagues better than the maneuver perk. And so I'm frustrated that these AI units continue to spawn with the maneuver perk, because I don't know. I just you'd think like, oh, all the speed is good, right? Because all the guns in the world don't do you any good if they're in the wrong place. Except all the guns in the right place in the world don't do you any good if they can't hit anything when they shoot. So I don't know. The performance of these units with the accuracy perk, I think the accuracy perk is still just better. This is a game predominantly about shooting. Melee is present, but kind of an afterthought. And I think that as much as the rebalance does some things to make melee more viable, I still think that ultimately the preponderance of things makes it better to optimize your units for shooting. Because if you're standing safely in cover, you're conserving your condition, you're conserving your morale, you're reducing your casualties because you're in cover. And if you optimize for bam, 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 I'm going to be really good at shooting, you make it more and more and more and more and more expensive for the AI to approach the positions that you're in your cover, in your covered positions. I don't know. But at the same time, the Confederate campaign is definitely one of maneuver, where you need to be kind of on your toes and be able to engage in offensive maneuver on a regular basis. I talked about this a little bit towards the tail end of the CSA tutorial mission, but I have a suspicion that due to a predominantly lack of sufficient industrial base and supplies, Confederate generals and unit commanders were, I think, their logistical situation enforced upon them a need to rely on the morale impact of shock as a operational tactic, and they got really good at it. Yeah, I think again, you take a look at Chancellorsville, the historic Chancellorsville or historic Second Bull Run. Those are battles that are won by maneuver at the operational level, and masterfully so, I would add. The 7 days battle, if you look at the trend over the course of those engagements, they were engagements where Johnston and then eventually Lee fought or maneuvered whereby aggression seemed to be their watchword. And again, they maneuvered well. But they didn't have the ability to simply shell McClellan's command out of the vicinity around Richmond. They had to engage and push him out. Whereas McClellan could for the most part continue giving ground and continue relying on a large artillery train, and the presence of the Navy to offer a logistical supply chain. Lincoln continued to chastise Union commanders for a lack of aggression, but I think, if it was me in those shoes, I would make a lot of the same calls. We have the supply advantage. We have the ammunition advantage and the food advantage. Our troops are better clothed. We have a better logistics camp and everything else. Let's wait them out. Time is on our side. Every moment the Confederate Army is in the field is a moment those men aren't home at the farm, for an economy so dependent upon agriculture. Every moment that army's in the field is a moment they're not harvesting. All of those things would theoretically have gone into the equation. And I'm wildly off topic of the concept of maneuver back into what I always talk about, economics. So you get me going on anything long enough, I'll somehow manage to bring economics into the equation, because I think everything comes down to economics. So back to the battle. The timer's officially run out, and in the vanilla game, that's it, right? In the vanilla game, the timer runs out, and that's the battle. So one of the cool things about this game is the Rebal. It's not the case. The Rebalance developers give us the chance to run down and destroy the Union Army in every single one of these battles, which helps, by the way, in keeping their numbers in check, sort of. So I'm getting better about trying to be careful in wasting my units' condition. I think condition is... I've been taught enough now that you need to maintain the condition of your soldiers or you're going to pay the price. Or they are. But I've also got the Union position pretty heavily outmaneuvered at this point. They're surrounded on a lot of sides. Their angle into the city is still, I think, hopeless. Their ancillary support units are being picked off one by one. So they're running low on or out of artillery cover. They're running low on supply wagons and extra units and everything else. And yeah, I think I complained in the last video about the infuriatingly slow pace of musketry. However, there is something I like about the pace, and I still think that it might need to be ticked up just a little bit. And I don't know. These are generally pretty low experience units, so it's possible that that's coloring my experience as well. But historically, when units like this would get into an engagement, the reports were units would bang at one another for a long time, and let me try and reorganize my thoughts here. One brigade or regiment shooting at an equivalent sized unit, because of the smoke of battle, it would be difficult to see. Because of the smoke and sound of the battle, historically, it was reportedly difficult for units to realize how bad they'd been thrashed until after the battle was over, and it was difficult for units to appreciate or discover how effective their shooting was or was not until the smoke had cleared and the battle was over. So in both instances, units would move into a position, maneuver into wherever they were, and they would receive an order to fire. And volley fire was not historically the norm, based on what I've been given to believe. Once battle was joined, typically it was fire as fast as you can. But maybe that's wrong. Maybe volley fire was a thing. What that ultimately meant was situational awareness for the individual soldier was pretty atrocious in terms of being aware of the relative status of his or her unit, his unit, or being aware of that unit's status in its line on the overall field of battle. Generally speaking, an understanding that existed before the battle, for example, 22nd Maine, it's Joshua Chamberlain, not Joseph Chamberlain. I said Joseph in the last video, my apologies. Josh Chamberlain would know that his position was the extreme left tail of the end of the Union position, and that was it. So he's aware, like, we can't break because we're it, right? But individual, let's say, Captain John Smith, 3rd Indiana or something, doesn't know how the remainder of his brigade is doing because they don't have instant updates of information. They don't have a top-down RTS video game. They don't have, radios and shit like that. So what you can see is what you know, and that's it. And so I complained in the last video, but I'm kind of coming around to the slow, ineffective musketry, because historically my understanding is that the real killer was the artillery. That generally speaking, cavalry charges in the traditional sense are rare. And that poorly trained or inexperienced troops in particular were atrocious at putting out sustained, accurate, high ROF fire. So I complained, but this is probably a more accurate representation of that than the vanilla game, where it's my experience that green troops perform good enough when compared to their more experienced peers. And I made a whole campaign in the Major General, and whenever I go back to vanilla or the UI modded version of the game, I'll probably go back to the strat too. I made a whole campaign about how, an army of 1 and 2 stars is good enough if it's big enough and well led and well supported. I think it's good enough. You don't need to make these 250 man 3-star units to have a good time in this game. So yeah, we're wrapping up on the individual battle. One of the nice things about the expanded timers is the freedom to maximize your casualties and run units down and capture things and things like that. So yeah, we'll go back to day of recording. Same deal. I want my camp screen to be pretty fresh. I will see you guys in the next video. And until then, though, this is Fiasco signing out. Welcome back to day of recording. This was Newport news. Frustrating a little bit during the moment over here. Where's the city? So on the mini map, right around here, where I had that like 4 unit scrum all mishmashed with their 1 unit, and then the artillery was shooting at them. I just couldn't get them out of there. And then it was kind of a pain in the ass getting everything to rest up and get the momentum back going. But also a really lucky break in terms of the variability, getting those, I think, 2 extra brigades. That's huge. Oh, and the extra artillery. That made a huge, significant difference in terms of the battle. It was messy, but it could have been a lot worse. Because they got an extra unit of artillery. Let's take a look. Yeah, they got an extra unit of artillery. They got an extra skirmisher. No, it's me. They got an extra unit of artillery. And they got an extra brigade. And they got an extra... no, Taylor, yeah. Let's just look for 2s. And they got an extra unit of skirmishers. Meanwhile, I picked up an extra brigade, an extra cav unit, which ended up being squandered in that melee scrum. And then I think somewhere in here, an extra battery. Yeah, an extra battery. But the real... killers of this battle, 6-pounders, dude. First horse artillery, 6-pounders. I also really liked how mobile those guys were. Like, they were fantastic. A bunch of officers picked up promotions, both versions of John Pelham. That's pretty funny. I don't know if I get to keep any of these. I'm assuming the answer to that question is no. Francis Bartow, who I feel like is probably one of mine. I don't know. Actually, let's find out. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Captured some cav muskets. Let's take a look here. Pretty short range, good rate of fire though, and it's pretty accurate. Actually, it's not bad. This is something that I would think about using. Percussion muskets in large quantity, rescued and captured. Cool, whatever. We rescued some 6-pounders, so we made good on some of our losses. Looks like the enemy was using 12-pound howitzers. Let's take a look at how it does. Let's compare it. So from 92 at very close range all the way down to 2% at long range. Oh, good gracious. Let's take a look at how's the 12-pound howitzer. Holy moly, 106. So it actually gets a damage bonus at very short range, which makes a lot of sense. But then look at how quickly it drops off. Does that have the same? I mean, I guess it's not that different. Interesting. Okay. Sawed-off shotguns, hot garbage. Some more 41s, always a good time. Captured a shitload of them, which is great. Yeah, cool. That's a good unit musket. Also, captured a bunch of the rapid fire Springfield 55s. This will be good for my line infantry, who's going to be kind of just sort of grinding it out in the front line. Recovered some of the MGs and recovered some of these pretty interesting kind of Colt revolver carbine things. It's interesting that a revolver offers a low reload, and I wonder like why that would be, because you'd think kind of a revolver, it's preloaded weapons, or preloaded rounds. Either way, let's take a look at what the damage is in the camp, and let's see if we get to inherit any of these officers. My guess is that the answer to that is no. We got a point, which is going to have to be go to AO, rep money dudes, Recovered a bunch of guys captured for the additional extra 1,000 prisoner recruits, which is great. And let's take a look at the barracks. Yeah, but we did get Bartow, who's a colonel. We got one wounded colonel. He's one of the allied units who's slid into our command, which is great, because take a look at what a colonel usually costs. This guy is better than Elder, and they want 9,300 for Elder. So this Bartow, when he recovers at the end of Bull Run, that's like, what, 10 grand, maybe, give or take? Call it, let's be conservative and call it 9,500 of value. So that's a nice break. Cool. So we got weapons. We got plenty of these, which is great. We're going to be able to spin up units for the Shiloh campaign or make our existing units bigger. And the career point, unfortunately, has to go straight into Army Org. We are not interested in anything left from Rep, although, interestingly, James Archer is typically a general. And in this instance, I think I find that compelling. A colonel, presumably at 0 scale, so call it $8,500 or whatever. I mean, I don't know. That's actually a compelling offer or a compelling purchase, theoretically speaking. So we can bump you back up to 9 guns. It's a shame we didn't capture more. I was so pissed about this unit here. But we'll go ahead and bring you back up to fighting strength, give or take. You as well get a bit of a bump. Yep, there you go. Let's get our grenadiers up there too. I may think about side grading the weapon here. I don't know. Yeah. But the MJNG is expensive and I don't have a lot of it. And your intention is to fight melee combat, right? I don't know. It's $7 more per. And it's like a markedly better weapon across the board. Why don't I just give him what I've got? That's right, because melee 65. I guess I can give him percussion muskets. No, I feel like that's just a mistake across the board. Let's get out of the musket business altogether. Is a phrase I've heard something Compass say, and I rather like it. Yeah, sure. All right, so second verse, same as the first. Let's see if I can't borrow a kernel and get a perk on a unit. Yeah. All right. Daryl Siegfried. Wow, that's like barely a leg kernel. Okay. He keeps the perk, loses some command. That's unfortunate. Cav with Siegfried. We've got some of these weapons already. Where are they? Yeah. This is going to be spendy as shit. You know, before I commit to this action. Again. Where's my... Let's see. Daryl Siegfried. We got a bunch of these. Carbine Cav could be interesting, although I've been told that if you want to make melee Cav, you need to actually dedicate them to that role. Let's go ahead and make them a little more beefy. There. All right. Star, yes, no? Boom. Now we get to talk about Cav stars. This is cool. All right. I might delete him really quick, make a skirm unit, and then we can take a look at their perks as well. All right, what does Cav? Discipline training, just reduced morale damage. That's not terrible. Horseback riding, speed, rotation. Okay, musketry drills, accuracy, reload time. Okay, I can see all of those being useful, especially for the carbine type skirmishers. Scouting, oh my goodness. Plus 200% stealth, double the spotting. That's awesome. Carbine proficiency, we just talked about that. Accuracy, reload time, all right. Saber proficiency. So as a UI design note, it might be beneficial to swap these two because this is literally sabers and that's literally a scouting glass. But I'm going to go ahead and guess that's probably an oversight, and the intention was to swap these. Speaking of which, as well, over here, the perks. There was one of these that's like lives in the saddle, and then there's an arrow. Make that one this is a suggestion. Take it as you will. There's one of these perks that's an arrow. Make that one the speed one, and then this guy can be leads from the front, because there's like little chevrons there indicating, and this guy's like a grenadier type. So I don't know, like that's just what I would do. All right, so let's talk about Cav perks. So probably for a melee one, obviously speed and rotation needs to be the answer. Although morale received is also pretty solid. That keeps you in the fight longer, which is definitely good. I'm still leaning towards speed because then you can run down units that are running away. So that's my thought. Let's take a look at rank 2. We already talked about this. So the interestingly, yeah, you will probably do saber proficiency if we get there. It's a reduction in melee damage, morale received, more speed. Yeah, excellent. If you're going to go for a shock unit, you got to go for a shock unit. All right, mounted infantry, effective range, excellent, reload time, accuracy, cover. That's great. Shock cavalry. So there's like some really cool trees you can go down with the Cav. Let's do the experiment. This won't cost me anything because I already have everything. Well, Wait. You don't keep the horses, do you? I'll just reload save if I need to. I'll just reload the save. All right. Just kidding, Siegfried. You're a skirmisher now. Ah. What do I have that I can give you? Yeah, whatever. That's free. I like this that you can give skirmishers infantry weapons. That's definitely cool. All right, whatever. It's free. We're just doing this to take a look at the perks. All right. So light infantry, speed and cover, totally useful. I can see why you'd want that. Musketry drills, accuracy and reload time, also totally interesting and useful. I can see why you'd want that. Fire damage, morale received, accuracy and reload time. Accuracy. Oh, okay, got it. So this one's probably for the carbine infantry that wants to get up close. And I say that because they sacrifice a bit of the accuracy, but theoretically speaking, you're going to be closer, so you won't need as much, and they have a better reload time. Whereas this one is clearly for the sniper units, significantly more accuracy and a slight reduction in reload time. And then this one is for, I presume, the ones you're bringing along for the purposes entirely of spotting and scouting, which is also a thing that later on I could see the need or the desire for scout units. Let's take a look. Zouave tactics, accuracy, reload time, and cover. All right, cool. And marksman training. Holy shnikes. Yeah, I mean, obviously for sniper dudes. Sharpshooter, I mean, just really, like, you just go down, where is it? Yeah, you go down this path and it's the ultimate sniper. And then I can see a lot of cool ideas for just a scout unit, give them some cheap carbines or whatever, and they're a scout unit. Modern infantry. Oh, I love it. That's fantastic. All right, cool. Let's see if I get burned on buying cav. Yeah, it looks like I got to buy. Well, no, wait, that's... Yeah, so I should theoretically have... Nope, still got to pay for the horses. Okay, cool. Easy peasy. So now we've at least looked at all the perks that are available. And boop, boop. And I guess now I won't have counted as having bought those, will I? That makes sense. Yeah, that's fine. And I want you like a decent size that I'm not going to be worried about you getting... Yeah, that's fine. Is the officer okay for this? Yeah. Where's the one... Speed and rotation. Yeah. All right. I don't know, man. 800 is not going to be big enough. I just have a crap load of these. Yeah. I think I just gave you the 41. Where did it go? And then I bump you up to 1250 as well. It's a loss in stats. Oh well, suck it up. Yeah, that's the economic choice. And then I know this battle goes forever. Holy shit. How big? Whoa. Do I want that big? God dang. If you ignore... Supplier units could be in danger of running out of ammo. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. All right, do I want to buy anything with the knowledge that I can't bring it to the next, or that I can't pick anything up? No, nothing in the infantry side. Skirmishers. No. All right. Let's do an artillery comparison, because I haven't looked at that up until now. So the 10-pounder has a range of 900 and has just got middling accuracy through the entire way, and it drops off like crazy. Fire rate 70, we got to consider that. Fire rate 80 for the ubiquitous 6-pounder. A 100-unit shorter range. Okay, fair enough. But it's in its ideal size band or whatever, it's very, very effective. Very good at short. And it's okay at medium, but I wouldn't look at this as a dedicated counter battery probably ever. Let's take a look at the 12-pound howitzer. It's even shorter range. What's the damage curve? 33 to 45, 33 to 45, 26 to 48. So the howitzer's really, really only good at canistering things, but you would expect that this should be better at that. So the same range as the 6 pounder, yeah. 33 to 45, 30 to 45. 83 is the close range, 92 is the close range. Jesus, yeah, I can see why the 6 pounder is killing it. My gosh. All right, well, when do they get good? 1,000. Yeah, I mean, here you go. Look, the accuracy drop off, there almost isn't any. It's the same damage curve. It's actually less damage curve, but drops to 1%, drops to 20%. So it's effective at maximum range, and it's really equally effective at medium, long, or max range. Like, there's not really any drop off at all in terms of how effective it is. This thing is equally effective pretty much across the entire line. And then especially when you take into account the traits that bump the maximum range up and increase the long range damage. Yeah, sure. Here we go. Here's the king. Short range, 700, 800. Okay. 103 versus 92. What's the damage range? 20 to 44, 33 to 45. And it's better, right? Like, it's clearly better. Fire rate 40, fire rate 80. But is it? Ammunition cost 155. Okay, so it's a third as much to shoot. The gun itself costs a little over 3 times as much. Drops off to useless at long range. Okay, whatever. We're not using this thing beyond medium, so 42. Okay, so there's a huge drop off. This thing's really only good at canistering things. Huge drop off. Take a look at the 92, 50, 18 versus 103, 82, and 42. So this thing is a little bit more useful out to medium range, and then, I mean, it's useless long range, but we knew that. That's not really a surprise. And then the Blakely. I'm assuming this replaces the Tredegar. I'm guessing. Okay, it's nice damage curve, I guess, but this is... What is this even supposed to do? Really ineffective. Well, no, but the thing is, I think that this is just like the 10 to 20 pound parrot. It's just shittier. Yeah, it's like half as good as a 20 pound parrot, and it costs, I don't know, a little more, weirdly. 900 versus 1,000. I mean, obviously, it's available, right? So that might be the only thing I have going for me as far as that's concerned. Whitworth. Damn. Yeah, wow. Okay. This thing's pretty cheap to fire. No, it's not. Never mind. It's ammunition, not cost. Super accurate, super long range. I mean, by comparison, what's the 4-inch Siege? Surprisingly mobile and provides heavy firepower for the army. Interesting. Take a look at this. The damage curve, 33, 33, 32, 32, 31. So this thing doesn't really give a shit where you put it. Oh, it's the 14-pound James. Even look at it. It's the James. Yeah, this thing will be good wherever you put it. It's expensive to shoot, though. All right, I don't know, man. Yeah, I guess. Whatever. This is fine. I'm going to capture a bunch of 6-pounders probably in the battle. There's nothing to sell off. All right, let's do this. Let's get ourselves ready. Okay. We need to grow an officer corps in the army. Yeah. All right. I still really wonder about these 2 units, because I think that this perk is just better. Accuracy and reload time versus what? Speed and charge damage? I just think shooting is better with infantry. If you want melee, you've got these things for it. And the things I have to do to get these guys into... I think this perk is just better. lose the perk? You do. You still have your perk. Nope, you need a major or a full kernel. But do you need that good a kernel? Do I have a shit kernel? I do. I don't think a shit kernel will do it. For the cav, though. Yeah, they lose the perk. Okay. So Siegfried needs to run the cav. Kemper needs to run the rifles. Once the shooting starts, speed isn't doing me any good. I've got you for melee. Eventually, I'm going to have a cav swarm. Okay, and that will actually happen after Bull Run, come to think of it, because we're going to need to grow to 10 at least. And I'm going to want a counter battery gun, too. So I should probably... even if it's just a 4-gun battery. I like the Parrot. Parrot's good. Yeah. It's interesting. The damage curves upward back again at the absolute longest range. So that's good for counter battery work. Parrot's good for that. And I would sell you, but I'm just not going to get any money for you. So I'll hold on until later. But you're coming. Your time is soon. And I guess you. Yeah, I'm not excited about anything else I got going on as far as guns. I think this perk is just better. Accuracy and reload time. If I need speed, it's there in perk 2. But these guys got freaking reamed in that last battle because they couldn't shoot anything. Oh, why am I doing this? Am I doing this?
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay. Come on. Fuck yes. Okay. Nope. Spelling is hard. There you go. Okay. Man, I am rejiggering the crap out of these units. Oh, it's so bad. I think we already discussed this. I can't put a light kernel in there, can I? No. Okay. I have the money. Oh. Wait. That solves this problem, I think. How's he doing? So you're good because you've got a full kernel in you. And you're not because you have a major. If I put a light kernel in there, does that fix it? No. What about? Oh, James Archer's actually a good kernel. Yep. Boom. That solves the problem. So it's just got to be, like, rank appropriate. Okay. Oh, I hate to do this. They've got such good firearms. The next perk involves accuracy, right? The next rank down. Rifles are up. 1 and 3. Oh, I think we just stick it out. Yeah, I think we just stick it out and hope some of these guys get promoted. If you live, Douglas is almost certainly going to pick up full colonel. That's good. Zachary is less likely to do so. Some of these guys might actually make it to general, which will be cool. I want to play from there. All right. Yeah, sorry this took so long. I've been hemming and hawing about how I wanted to handle this. But you need to be able to fire effectively. You just need to. Yeah, you need to be able to deliver accurate fires, and if you can't, I don't know, man. Manpower is a big enough problem, and good officers is a big enough problem in the Confederacy that I just don't think you can afford to throw them out there. You gotta be able to shoot stuff down. Okay, that's a shitload of supply though. So we've got $77,000 down from I think 90 at the end of this, which isn't terrible. We're still at the same number of dudes. Brigades are a good size. Morale penalty? No morale effect, but I don't need those percussion muskets because I've got a shitload. Yeah, we're good. Okay, spool of officers. I'm going to see what I can't do with these guys going forward. I want to level some of these dudes up. I might have to suck it up in a couple of these battles and just lose. Like, just have crap. But here it'll be nice to have all these 1-star units. Okay. Thank you for watching, and I'm sorry for the rambly. This is a new balance curve. I have to think about some things here, but yeah. I think unless the baseline efficacy of musketry comes up a bit, these units are so just laughably terrible at shooting that at least this perk seems still required. If you want to go for speed on the line, all right, go for it. But all the speed in the world doesn't do you any good if you get where you're going and you can't shoot it out or shoot the Union off the spot. I still don't think that melee should be your preferred or predominant. I don't know. We'll see. Because right now, you're our most experienced unit by far. Yeah. By like a huge margin. All right. Thanks for watching. Next episode's Bull Run. That should be a pretty good time. Here's my career screen. Nice discount. Next point gets me more of a discount, and you need it. These guns are crazy expensive. And that's all I got. This is Fiasco, signing out. Oh, let's see. You full up? Yeah, you are. Okay, good. This is Fiasco, signing out.